Good evening and welcome to the Rory Talks Football channel for the second time this evening. Look, reaction to Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. Reaction to Arteta's press conference. Got some transfer news as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about Jude Bellingham because he is going to Real Madrid. What does that mean for Arsenal? How do we tie everything back to Arsenal? But I do actually think it means quite a bit. For Arsenal. So, look, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, smash a like on the video as well. I apologise, Sam. I am just going to put you in timeout because you are a bit annoying. Chris, Penguin, Nabs, Ogler, good to see you all. Good to see you all. I went live and then I was not live and now we are live. If you're on TikTok as well, the YouTube link is in my bio. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're about 25 subscribers away. So we're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. Please do subscribe. It is massively appreciated. Smash a like on the video as well. Lots to get into today. Starting with last night's win. And look, it was a big win. Yes, it was only against Chelsea. And I've seen a lot of it was only Chelsea today. Fine, it was only Chelsea. But it was still a London derby. We've struggled against Southampton. So saying it's only Chelsea, they're still better than Southampton. We needed to perform. We needed to get the win. And we did it. And look, I was happy with what Arteta did in terms of bringing in Kivior. I thought bringing in Jorginho was smart as well. And it was a good performance. It was a good all-round performance. Who was my man of the match? It would be Kivior. It would be Kivior. I thought Odegaard and Xhaka were fantastic. But for his first full Premier League game, I just thought it was an outstanding debut for Kivior. Apparently, Gabriel might be unavailable for Newcastle. We'll talk about that. What's with Guehi? Well, he's a potential transfer target for Arsenal, Mark Guehi. But look, in terms of last night, the immediate massive difference was Jakub Kivior. And yes, Chelsea's attack isn't fantastic and they've been struggling to score goals and we still didn't keep a clean sheet. But that isn't the point. The point is the way the team looked with Kivior in it instead of Holding. The way the system was so much closer to the system that we've seen throughout the year. And it's all down to, it's down to two things. Firstly, Kivior's pace. Kivior has the same sort of recovery pace that Saliba has. It allows him to play a high line, an aggressive high line, knowing that he can get back if he needs to. And the other thing is Kivior's confidence on the ball. Kivior was taking up spaces that Saliba takes up and demanding the ball into his feet. Rob Holding kind of doesn't do that. Rob Holding sits a bit deeper. He's not as desperate to get the ball. And when he does get it, he takes more touches on the ball. With Kivior, it would come in. It would be either a straight first-time pass or it would be one touch and pass. And, I think actually the very first pass he played out from the back, he gave the ball away. And I was thinking, oh, God, please don't do this. But he grew in confidence through the game. As Chris Neal just said, he got more comfortable through the game. And it was a really good performance. And look, again, this is nothing to take away from Rob Holding, who I still love as a servant to the club. But Rob Holding just never had the assets that he needed to play the system in Saliba's role. And it's not Rob Holding's fault. I actually blame Mikel Arteta for playing Rob Holding. Ultimately, Arteta was the one that signed Kivior. Arteta's talent ID was what brought Kivior to the club. And he ultimately, Arteta didn't back his own signing, despite the fact that Rob Holding wasn't his signing. So, I'm glad that he's come in now. Now that he is in the team, I don't see him leaving the team. Devin, I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Now that he's in the team, until Saliba's back, I don't see Kivior leaving the team. Obviously, we've now got this issue with Gabriel, who did pick up that injury. I mean, if we've got to play Kivior and Rob Holding at St. James's Park, I'm worried. I'm very worried. In terms of Gabriel's injury, Arteta obviously didn't give much of an update on it. It was a knock. As far as I'm aware, I've watched it back. He initially picks up the injury when they score the goal. And to me, it looks like it's a sort of a kick in the back of the calf. So I feel like it probably was a dead calf based on the way that he carried on. And he kept trying to carry on. And one thing he kept doing was he was stamping his foot into the ground. Which you sometimes do if you get a dead calf, you kind of try and wake it up again. So I feel and I hope that it was a dead calf because realistically, that's quite a short turnaround. But we don't know for sure. And obviously, it will have to be Kivior and Rob Holding if Gabriel's out. which wouldn't be ideal. In terms of other big performers, I thought that was one of Granit Xhaka's best games this season. He was excellent. I think technically they gave him 3 assists. They gave him the assist for the third one as well. So a hat trick of assists for Granit Xhaka. That puts him ahead of Jack Grealish for goals and assists. They've got the same number of goals each, and Granit Xhaka has more assists. West Ham versus City score predictions. 3-0 Man City, I would go for. 3-0 Man City. I'm not predicting that West Ham get anything out of that game, unfortunately. Apparently, West Ham might be resting players as well because of their Conference League games. So that would be very annoying. That Xhaka nutmeg into a goal would have been the highlight of the night. Yeah, it would. It would have been unbelievable. Would have been unbelievable. But yeah, Xhaka was fantastic. Ødegaard was fantastic. There is one player that, look, some people say he goes missing in the big games. But the games where we need a player to stand up and sort of raise the level and bring us back, it's always Ødegaard. It is always Ødegaard, and he had an excellent game. I thought the one, maybe 2 underperformers was Zinchenko and Saka. I thought Zinchenko, and he has admitted it since, that he switched off completely for the goal. You can't afford to do that. You just can't afford to switch off that much as well. It wasn't like a loose pass. He makes quite a few loose passes, but it was he literally gifted them a goal. And fine, we were 3-0 up, but we've seen what can happen. You know, Liverpool nearly bottled a 3-0 lead against Tottenham, so that's not good enough. And Saka, to me, just looks tired. He just looks absolutely exhausted. And I don't really know why Arteta is playing him for as long as he is. You know, I wouldn't have started Saka, but I certainly would have taken him off before I took off Trossard. You know, he took off Trossard for Martinelli, and it was just, for me, it wasn't the right decision. And, you know, Saka missed quite a few chances. I thought he was... there was one chance where he could have pulled it back to Ødegaard for a tap-in, and that would have been Ødegaard's hat-trick. And actually, the one worrying thing was tracking back. At one point, Saka had given the ball away, and he wasn't tracking back, and Jorginho was absolutely screaming at him to get back. So I do think he should just have a rest. I think it's clear as day. He's been tired. He's looked tired since the international break, truthfully. So yeah, I think he needs a break, and I really think Reiss Nelson deserves the chance. So that is what I would do on that front. That Kivior over-the-shoulder pass back to Ramsdale was so smooth. It was, yeah. And just his recovery pace. His recovery pace is so good. Look, getting on to Arteta's press conference, people say Kivior looking good. Was that Arsenal overloaded Chelsea in the midfield? Yeah, they did. But the one thing that allowed us to overload them in the midfield was how far up Kivior was. This is a thing that, and I think it's why Jorginho definitely looked better than Partey's been looking. Reiss Nelson actually rejected just in. Breaking news regarding Reiss Nelson. So this is coming from Sammy Mockbell. This is live as we have it. Arsenal summer plans. Centre-back, defensive midfielder and versatile forward targeted. Moussa Diaby and Declan Rice are among the primary targets. Romeo Lavia and Wilfried Zaha are the alternatives. And Reiss Nelson has rejected a contract offer. So there we go. That's coming from Sammy Mockbell, the Daily Mail. It would be interesting to know how much the offer was for Reiss Nelson. The thing is, because he's available on a free in the summer, any other club that wants him can offer him decent wages because you're getting probably a £30 million player for free. So it'll be interesting just scanning this a bit more. I don't know if it says what the offer was. Diaby is likely to cost in excess of 50 million. The issue with that is that PSG might want him back. Reiss Nelson. It remains to be seen whether Arsenal make Nelson an improved offer before his deal expires in June. His first-team chances will be limited at the Emirates in the future amid a feeling that it may benefit his career if he plays regular football elsewhere. Brighton are interested and will make Nelson a formal offer, though there are other interested parties in the Premier League and abroad. So there you go. Breaking news live on stream. At centre-back, Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi has impressed Arsenal's recruitment specialist this season, but the Gunners are one of many Premier League teams, including Tottenham, keen on the England international this summer. With Bukayo Saka having agreed a new long-term contract and the club in talks with William Saliba over an improved deal, it's gearing up to be an expensive summer for the Gunners as they look to build on the success of this season. However, the North London club will also look to offload some of their fringe players, with the likes of Balogun, Tierney, Holding, Smith Rowe, all set to attract interest this summer. So there you go. Some on the beat journalism live on stream. Look, you can understand, right? If Reece Nelson is aware that Arsenal are in for Moussa Diaby, again, that just kicks him into third choice in both left wing and right wing positions. You can understand why he wouldn't want to stay if he can get more money for a club where he's actually got a chance of starting. Smith Rowe to Villa, no doubt. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Smith Rowe goes to Villa. We'll hit that again in a minute. I just want to get through Arteta's press conference highlights. He was about the first half. He said the way we approached the game, the way we started, our energy, there was lots of movement. We played forward, scored some great goals, and really connected with our supporters and created the atmosphere we wanted. After 60 minutes, we should have scored 4 or 5. We didn't do that. And after conceding the goal, there's still a long period to play, and we should have managed the game a little better. I agree with that. At 3-0, the first 10 minutes of the second half, we had a lot of chances to completely put the game to bed, and we didn't. So, this sort of mentality we have at 2 or 3-0, it does need to be sorted. He was asked about how much we needed that result. He said, I don't have a number, but personally a lot, because if we want to have any chance to win this league, we had to win today. Spot on. He was asked about how Jakub Kiwior performed. He said he looked ready, he looked fresh, he looked really determined. He's been getting better and better every single day, not only in training, but his interaction and his language. Interesting, his language. Maybe that is a reason that he's not been playing as much, is simply the language barrier. He said he's more settled and he's a player that I really like. That's why I signed him. He has the potential at his age to be great, and he had a big task against the players he had to face today, and I think he did really well. That does beg the question to me, was he really that much more ready 6 days after losing to Man City than he was last week? Has he really progressed that much in the last 6 days? That would be my only question as to why we didn't play Kiwior previously. But look, it's up to Arteta. On Gabriel's injury, he said he wasn't comfortable. We tried for 10 to 15 minutes, but he couldn't carry on, which is strange for Gabby. So we're a bit concerned because normally he's not one that wants to leave the pitch. And that is the concern. Normally he plays through knocks. On whether criticism of Martin Ødegaard after the last game was fair, he said, I don't know because I don't read those comments. What I can say is that he's been exceptional for us. You look at his contribution every single day in the team and what he does for us every single time. It's exceptional. The perfect player that plays perfect football every time doesn't exist. But what Martin has done this season deserves a lot of credit. And that is bang on. Martin Ødegaard is the highest scoring midfielder in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe. I don't think people quite realise the standard that Ødegaard is setting this season. I think he's one non-penalty goal away from equaling Yaya Touré's goal-scoring record in the Premier League for a midfielder. He's genuinely on the verge of breaking Premier League records for a goal-scoring season for a midfielder. Yes, he wasn't great against Man City. None of the team were great against Man City. So, I mean, God, that video of Lee Gunner still criticising him last night, even after he'd scored twice. Absolute moron. He was asked whether he believes the title race is over or not. He said, we've discussed it. We're top right now. We've got 4 games to go. We have to prepare for Newcastle now. Let's see what happens. What we can control is to win our matches. And to do that, we have to perform as well as possible. He was asked if it would have been easy to drop their heads now. He said, we can't do that. To be in the position we are after 10 months against the team we're fighting, being there and having the opportunity tonight to be top, we're not going to allow anybody to talk about it and not to feel it. And then he was just asked some more personal things that aren't that interesting. What Jorginho brought to the team, he said what he brings every single day in training, leadership, intelligence, capacity to control the game, the way he communicates with people, the quality that he brings, the level of attention, the experience, because he's been in many situations like these before. That's just the way he plays. Spot on. I thought Jorginho was excellent. Lee Gunnar is worse than AFTV for destroying our fan image. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's too scared to even live in the UK these days. So there you go. And then he was asked on whether Odegaard set the tone for tonight, and he said yes, but I think he's done that on many occasions throughout the season. The energy he has when he hasn't got the ball, the movement, the quality, the way he is in the dressing room is exceptional. We're really pleased to have him as captain. So there you go. That was kind of a rundown of what Arteta said. And he's bang on, to be fair. Doesn't miss a beat. One more win and we're top two guaranteed. Yeah, I think we're top two guaranteed anyway, to be fair. What do you think about the Ashburton Army situation yesterday? Yeah, so quickly on the Ashburton Army, you might have noticed that they left. They were in the stadium before the game. They then left at the start of the game for the first 30 minutes. They went out to the concourse and they were protesting the fact that basically they're being treated as almost like criminals. They received really lengthy, unnecessary checks on their way into the stadium yesterday, and they weren't happy about it. And look, ultimately for me, a fan is a fan. I don't think they should be penalised for doing what they do. I think that they've been excellent this season, and yeah, I think having to show ID to police before a game and having your picture taken by the police to get into a game of football is wrong. So look, fair play to them. Fair play to them. I don't know how much difference their protest would have made. The issue was, for me, the one issue they made was they were silent on social media about it. So everyone noticed that they weren't there, but no one knew why, and no one filmed them leaving. So I think in terms of protesting, there are improvements to be made. But why did the police do that? Weird. I don't know. Have you seen the Pep mind games saying the most important title in our season was getting top four? Yeah, Pep just needs to stop talking about us, really. Have you seen Rio's comments about Patino leaving as an admirable decision, but he's an ambassador for Patino's agent company? People hating on him making the comments. Yeah, I mean, look, interestingly, there is stuff coming out from the club, from David Ornstein, that Patino is potentially more hyped by the fan base than he is inside the club, and that quite a few academy prospects get hyped up by the fan base more than they are actually good enough to play, especially at the level that Arsenal are now. So, it probably is going to end up being the right decision for both people. Was the laser on Mudryk you? No, it wasn't on me. It wasn't on me. To be honest, I thought the whole laser on Mudryk thing got a bit sort of blown out of proportion. I feel like people were really desperate to jump on that. And people were talking about, like, I kept seeing headline of lasers shined at Mudryk as if it was lots of people. It was literally one moron who got arrested. So, yeah, I don't really care about that. More from David Ornstein on following Balogun's future. Obviously, we know that it's sounding more and more like he is going to leave. And again, David Ornstein said there's a really good chance that following Balogun leaves Arsenal permanently this summer. There's an ongoing question about the striking department. Can you go just with Jesus and Nketiah in the Champions League and fight on all fronts? Or do you need someone to bolster in that area with it being unlikely, or with an unlikely scenario of it being following Balogun? So, yeah, David Ornstein is very confident that we're not going to have following Balogun next season, and that opens the door for me for a different profile of striker, for an Ivan Toney. I think we've just got to make sure we get good money for Balogun at this point. Would you take Maignan for Ramsdale? I mean, look, I think Maignan, whatever his name is, Maignan is a better goalkeeper right now than Ramsdale. You'll have to re-ask the question, Monsieur Arteta. I didn't see what the question was first time, unfortunately. For fuck's sake, is it confirmed that Gabriel won't play against Newcastle? No, it's not confirmed that Gabriel won't play against Newcastle. Or it is confirmed. Who's confirmed it? I don't know if you're asking me or if you're telling me. Yeah, we've just talked about the Reece Nelson news. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Arsenal will make at least 120 million this summer from player sales. We should do. We should make that. Are you a happy Gooner at the moment? Yeah, I am pretty happy, and I'm excited for the future as well. Obviously, I'd be more happy if we were still favourites to win the title, but when are we going to do Guess the Gooner? Shortly. We will do Guess the Gooner shortly. Rafinha. Obviously, we've heard that Rafinha is an Arsenal target. Barcelona potentially looking to sell him. And if Arsenal could get him on a cut price deal of 50 to 60 million, we'd be interested. However, apparently, this is coming from Gerard Romero. Newcastle have offered an €80 million bid for Rafinha. So that's coming out of Spain. Very interesting. I would argue it's not necessarily the first position that I think Newcastle need to spend that sort of money on. But I think that is a precursor to what we can expect this summer, which is now that they've got Champions League football, probably Newcastle are going to start spending big money, and that's going to be a real big competitor for us in the transfer market. Truthfully, if they come in for Rafinha for 80 million, we're not going to get him. It's as simple as that. So, would you take St. Maximin? No, I wouldn't. I thought St. Maximin's biggest issue under Eddie Howe's Newcastle was a lack of discipline, and that same lack of discipline would mean he wouldn't work at Arsenal for me. There are 8 small journalists close to Arsenal which announced that Gabriel won't play against Newcastle. Fair play. Have you got the names of any of those journalists? Who do you reckon Newcastle start up top? I think Newcastle will start Isaac up top against us. Rafinha or Diaby? I'd prefer Diaby, personally. Would you rather sit lower tier, club, or upper tier? My favourite is to be at the very front of upper tier, because you get the whole upper tier behind you. That's my favourite. Wanted to talk a bit about Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid. If you've not seen this, basically confirmed by Fabrizio Romano today that Jude Bellingham is going to Real Madrid. That has pretty much been agreed. And very interestingly, that is despite Man City offering more money. Man City offered Borussia Dortmund more money, and they offered him higher wages, and yet he preferred a move to Real Madrid. And he had actually mentioned, it was reported a few weeks ago, that he wasn't interested in Man City or PSG or any of these oil clubs because he wanted a club with proper heritage. Now, I wasn't sure if I believed that at the time, but it really does seem like that is the case. Now, on one hand, I feel like that's a good thing because it means that Jude Bellingham isn't going to be at Man City and isn't going to elevate Man City's midfield levels even further. However, Jude already said that he doesn't like Haaland. That's the reason. Fair play. George, good to see you. So him going to Real Madrid is good in that sense, but it means that Man City have got a lot of money to spend on midfielders, and are they going to start targeting the likes of Declan Rice, who we're in for? So it's one of those where it could be that, they don't get Bellingham, but they do end up, taking someone that we're interested in. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Where did you sit yesterday? Yesterday I was in club. It was a ticket that I bought a couple of weeks ago. West Ham need to do us a solid 2-2 draw. Bowen and Fornals, clip it. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I really don't see it happening. If you're on TikTok, please do head over to my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. Drop a subscription. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're like 20 away or something. It's crazy. Declan to score the winner tonight. I would love it, and I think I deserve it. Rice won't go to City. He'll stay in London. That is the hope. The hope is that Declan Rice really does just want to stay in London. What happened with Rice, Rory? I'm clearly behind. I don't know. I don't know what happened with him. 20 to go. 20 subscribers. Come on. Get over to the YouTube channel. But look, that is it for all of those. We'll talk a bit more on that article that just came out after we have done Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player's career path. Apart from the Arsenal part of their career path, you have to guess the player. The pride goes to the person in the YouTube chat who gets it first. You get the badge of honor, the elite ball knowledge. So we'll get straight into it. I appreciate Ricky. I appreciate you. And Riley as well, who says hello from TikTok. Good to see you. Thank you very much. So this player, ex or current Arsenal player, started at Cardiff. They went on loan to Nottingham Forest. They then went on loan to Cardiff. They went to Juventus. They went to Rangers on loan. And they went to Nice. And it was almost immediate, probably from Cardiff. But it was Daniel Iqbal who got it first. Daniel Iqbal on mine. Ross Lawman was second. Gooners was third. And MCWHD was fourth. But Daniel Iqbal, he gets it first. I mean, that was a very easy one. Starting with Cardiff made it very easy. You didn't get Monsieur Arteta. You were actually 8th. Craig McIntyre and Mustafa Rahimi both beat you as well, unfortunately. So yeah, it's whoever comes up on my screen first is the one that gets it, and it was indeed Daniel Iqbal. So congratulations to you. And now it's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. So slightly less pride on this one. I will give you the full career path of a player that has never played for Arsenal. You have to guess who it is. This player started at ASEC Mimosas. Somehow, a club that I've never heard of, the second player in about 3 weeks that started their career at ASEC Mimosas. They went to KSK Beveren, Metalurg D, Olympiacos, Monaco, Barcelona, Manchester City, Olympiacos, and QD Shanghai. So there you go. Someone has got it in the TikTok chat. TH Vit got it in the TikTok chat. And Gunares is the first person to get it in the YouTube chat. The top three, back to back, the top three, a slightly different order, but the top three was Gunas, Daniel Iqbal, and Ross Lawman, but it was Gunas that got it first. It was indeed Yaya Toure. I need to learn more about that ASEC Mimosas club because I've genuinely never heard of them, but that's I can't remember who the other one was, but we had one recently who also started at ASEC Mimosas. But there you go, Yaya Toure. That was the player. Congratulations to everyone who got it as well. Good ball knowledge. Back-to-back fifth places. I'm on smoke. Keep it up, Tom McFadden. Keep it up. Second, both time for fuck's sake. I hope that's not an omen for our season. I hope, yeah. I feel like it probably is, Ross. I feel like it probably is. The Reece Nelson news. It came out as we were live on stream from Sammy Mokbal at the Daily Mail is that Reece Nelson has rejected a contract offer from Arsenal. That doesn't mean it's the end. It doesn't mean that we won't offer him an improved offer and persuade him to stay. But he has rejected the first offer. And look, currently Reece Nelson's on 35 grand a week, so you can understand why he wants more. I don't know how much he was offered to stay. But look, it would just be a massive shame to lose him on a free, you know. I actually, to a certain extent, I don't mind selling academy products. I don't mind, you know, when you sell Joe Willock for 30 million quid, that's 30 million profit, straight profit. When you sell, you know, if we sell Patino for 20 million, that's 20 million straight profit. That could all go back into buying players. So I don't mind it. But losing them on a free it's just frustrating. It's frustrating and it's sad. And I'll be really sad when he goes and tears it up at Brighton, because he will tear it up at Brighton. What's your thoughts on using midfielders as fullbacks, such as how Camavinga is being used at Madrid? If you've got the right player to do it, it's fine. You know, there was a period where we were playing Granit Xhaka at left back, and it was terrible because he wasn't, you know, he's not built to be a left back. But if you've got the right player to do it, it's the same as yeah, I mean, Real Madrid are great at it. You know, they've played Fede Valverde as a right back as well. I don't mind it at all. I don't think we've got any midfielders that are particularly suited to it, to be fair, though. Unpopular opinion, but I don't think Nelson long-term is a good option. Happy to have him stay, but I think he lacks consistency. I don't know. I don't disagree. I think he's been a good impact sub this season. Whether or not that's enough anymore. Is it enough just to be a good impact sub anymore at Arsenal? If you're in the Champions League, do you need the substitute player to actually be someone that can come and start Champions League games? Reece Nelson probably isn't good enough to do that. So, you know, long term, you might be right. You might be right. What's your score prediction for tonight? City versus West Ham. I think City are going to win 3-0. I'm not holding out much hope, unfortunately. Do you think Sam will keep Leeds up? Absolutely not. No. Do you think Arteta will keep the same lineup against Newcastle? Will he keep the same lineup against Newcastle? No, I think we'll see Thomas Partey back in. Despite the fact that he might not deserve it, despite the fact that Jorginho might deserve to stay there, I think we'll probably see Partey come back in. Obviously, we don't know what the backline's going to look like because we don't know whether Gabriel's going to be able to play or not. I mean, I've seen nothing definitive on Gabriel so far. Unless Gabriel had a scan today and it clearly showed an injury that means he's not going to be able to play, then I don't think we've got an update on him. Another thing from that Sammy Mokbal article, Arsenal will sanction a costly summer recruitment drive to close the gap on Manchester City. It's understood Mikel Arteta wants a new centre-back, possibly 2 central midfielders and a versatile attacker. So there you go. So we're looking at 4 or 5 signings, which is big. It is big indeed. Zinni or Tierney at St James's Park. Zinni is defensively suspect. Zinni, I'd still play Zinni. You know, he dominates the midfield. Yes, he can cost us goals, but he wins us games, in truth. Newcastle lineup, got to have Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus, front three. Saka looks exhausted. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. If it's a versatile attacker, we won't be getting Tony. Well, this is where you've got conflicting reports, right? Because I agree, versatile attacker to me isn't Ivan Toney, but David Ornstein's talking about it as if we are going for a proper striker if we're getting rid of Balogun. So look, you've got 2 different journalists, both of them are decent journalists. One of them will be right, I guess. But also, it depends on what becomes available. I mean, the issue is the market for versatile attackers isn't that big. Kivior did so well. Hopefully, Arteta sees and plays him more, way more than Holding. I think he will now. I think he will. And I think the thing to build on now is you've got an opportunity here if you're Arteta to give Kivior 4 games. You know, you've got an opportunity to give him a proper run of consistent Premier League playing time. And Kivior's the future. Rob Holding is the past. So make a Kivior chant. Yeah, we'd need a Kivior chant, actually. Don't think we've got one then. We need a bagsman, not a versatile forward. That's already covered by Gabby, Trossard, and Jesus. Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I agree with you. Again, if you're in the TikTok chat, please do head over to the YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. I appreciate anyone that's followed and liked the video on liked the stream on TikTok today, though. Really wish Ramsdale hate would just stop. It doesn't make sense. I agree. It's baffling, especially when you consider Ramsdale is 5 years younger than any of the other top keepers in the league. Like, he's got so much time to get better, and he's already at the top level. I just find it baffling. I really do. If you were Arsenal's manager, who would be your main target for striker? Ivan Toney for me. Ivan Toney. I think he's perfect. Get Messi in. Yeah, so Messi's leaving PSG, like 100%. Who would you play against Newcastle? So for me, if Gabriel is fit, the lineup against Newcastle would be Ramsdale, White, Kivior, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Xhaka, Erdegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, Trossard. That would be my lineup. To be fair, I absolutely banged the prediction for yesterday. That video from yesterday, I had to do a little edit and re-upload it today, predicting that or saying that Kivior should start at right centre back, and he did. Jorginho could come in for Partey, and he did. Trossard came in for Martinelli, and we won 3-1. The Oracle, indeed. Hi, bet you won't reply to this comment. I bet I will, Riley. In 2 years, Ramsdale has probably made 12 to 15 saves that should have been goals. Yeah, at least. And yeah, the big one I got to 2K. Apparently, I got to 2,000 subscribers. That is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you. I mean, just massive thank you to anyone that subscribed. Like, starting on YouTube is a grind. And obviously, having the TikTok and the Twitter platforms enabled me to do it a bit quicker. But even still, to get to 2,000 subs in like a month is just wicked. And I can't thank you enough. And look, those of you that are regulars in the YouTube chat, I see you and I appreciate you all. Massively do. Would you start Nelson over Saka? Yeah, I think at the moment I would. I think at the moment I really would start. I'd start Nelson or Trossard over Saka. Thank you, Devin. Thank you, and you, Jakob. Ramsdale is overhated. He has been a top Prem goalkeeper this year. Yeah, massively overhated. In terms of his age category, like Diogo Costa is probably the only other goalkeeper at that age that's at a top level. Like, it's not normal to be that good at that age for a goalkeeper. It's really not. How many points do you think Chelsea will get from their last games? I think they'll get 2. I think Chelsea are going to draw against Bournemouth, draw against Nottingham Forest, and lose the rest of their games. Because there are other games that are against, like, who is it? City, Newcastle, Man United. That might be it, to be fair. I think they've got 5 games left. 2K subs is the new holding. It's in the past now. Now it's time for 3K subs, aka the new Kivior. That's the next target. The next target is 3,000 subscribers. Crazy to think that our squad isn't near its prime. Imagine Ødegaard, Saka, Saliba, and Ramsdale all at their peak with experience of winning and competing for trophies. Exactly. And Martinelli, who is, still our top goal scorer this season. So, biggest prospects coming out of Hale End at the moment. I think Ruel Walters is the one player that's currently coming out of the academy that I think genuinely has a long future at Arsenal. And then behind that, I'd say Miles Lewis-Skelly is the next one. I don't think Noan Airi is going to be at the club, and I worry that Kozia Dubry might not be good enough. Which and only based on Kozia Dubry 3 years ago would have come through the same way that Saka did, but now there's a way higher level you have to reach. Like, Saka is the standard now. What happened to Miguel Aziz from our academy? He went on 2 loans and they were both terrible. He went to a Spanish club for the first half of the season. Their name has completely escaped me. But he went to a Spanish club that I think were in the 2nd division of Spanish football. That was it, Ibiza club, yeah. So he went to them for the first half of the season. They changed their manager, and the new manager just didn't like him and didn't play him. And now he's gone to Wigan for the second half of the season, and he's not been good there either. Akwanko, yeah, well, he is actually playing very well and could be a long-term backup to Ramsdale, to be fair. That is a good shout. He is playing well. What's up with Saka? He's breaking my heart. I just think Saka's exhausted. I genuinely just think Saka is absolutely exhausted. Charles Sago Jr. is such a baller. Yeah, but again, we have to almost completely change our idea of what is a good enough academy player to make it through. Charlie Patino not being good enough, I think, is proof of that. Aziz also went to Portsmouth. Yeah. Start Nelson after Newcastle again. Yeah, possibly. But look, that is going to be the end of the YouTube live stream. Again, massively appreciate all of you for tuning in. Lino Souza, possibly. As I said, please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the video. That massively helps me as well. I hope you all have a good evening. Let's just pray to the gods that somehow West Ham do an absolute madness over Man City tonight. And I will be back again live at 5 tomorrow. Do you know what? There's a slim chance that I go live again this evening for a Man City watch along. There's a slim chance. So keep an eye on my Twitter. I'll notify you if I'm going live for the Man City watch along. But other than that, have a fantastic evening, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.